Welcome to Sunday service at the Unitarian Universalist Metro Atlanta North Congregation, which we affectionately call UUMAN. Welcome to first-time visitors, recurring visitors, and our usual family and friends. My name is Jennifer Ratcliffe, and I am your worship associate this morning. We're glad we're here together, sharing this beautiful fall morning. UUMAN is one of many congregations that belong to the Unitarian Universalist Association. We have no dogma, but we have 7 principles which we live by. Some of them include the interdependent web of life, the worth and dignity of all beings, the use of the democratic process within our congregations and in society at large, and the use of reason, science, world religions, and different philosophies. Let us now gather ourselves into a quiet spot, a restful place. Let's forget about the week's worries, the trials, the tribulations, and let us center ourselves so that we can fully engage in this time together and in spiritual exploration. Thank you for being here today.
Hey UUMANites, Randy here for probably the last time before our big Harvest Moon auction event. Remember, it starts next Sunday, November 1st, and continues until our live auction on Saturday, November 7th. This past Sunday, I had the pleasure of working with our senior youth on a project they did to provide personal care items for our friends at Family Promise. We had a lot of fun. So while we post our latest door prize winners in the chat, right over there, I thought I'd share with you some of their thoughts on UUMAN. I hope you enjoy it.
Hold on.
There you go.
Yeah.
What's UUMAN mean to you, Rafaela?
UUMAN means family and safety and a place where I can unapologetically be myself.
That's awesome. How long have you been coming here?
Since I was before I was born.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And what, you're a junior in high school now, right?
I am.
That's amazing. Thanks,
Yeah,
Rafaela.
of course.
Hey, Troy.
Hello.
What's human mean to you?
Human means community for me. I've been here for a while and I just love the people, being around them. They mean so much to me. Whenever I'm not, I just miss them. And really, it's all about the people for me.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Hey, Josh. What's human mean to you?
To me, human means community. It's where a lot of people with the same kind of values gather because they want to do good things in the world.
How long have you been coming to Human, Josh?
And I mean, I joined when I was a couple months old, even though I probably didn't know it at the time. But I've been here as long as I can remember.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yep.
See ya.
Hello.
What's human mean to you?
Like for me personally, I'd say like it's kind of like a point of pride almost. Like I definitely see it as like a community, and I'm always just like happy to like tell people about it, you know, like what I do on Sundays. Yeah, friendship.
Awesome. How long have you been coming here?
I thought about this question and I literally am not sure. It's felt like a very long time. My mom knows, so I feel like around 3 years maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes.
Hey, Vika.
Hello.
What does human mean to you?
To show leadership,
Uh-huh.
friendship,
Uh-huh.
also to guidance for like spiritual or just to find your path in life.
Uh-huh.
And yeah,
How long have you been coming here, Vika?
about 3 years, I think.
Wow.
Possibly.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And you're a junior in high school, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah. No.
In the video, you saw and heard what human means to our senior youth. So I'll ask you the same question I asked them. What's human mean to you? If the work the senior youth and all of our members are doing inside and outside the human walls means something to you, go online, register, and participate in the auction. Can't figure it out? No problem. Reach out to the auction team and we'll be happy to find someone who can help you get set up. And once you're registered, share the link with your friends and family and get them registered. Everyone can participate. Get online and register for our children and youth. Do it for your human friends. Do it for yourself. Do it because human matters. Together, we can make this year's virtual Harvest Moon auction a success. Enjoy the service and don't forget to register.
Good morning. With the original definition of the word heretic being those who choose, welcome heretics. Welcome to this place of spiritual and religious choice. Welcome to this place of spiritual and religious freedom. A spiritual and religious freedom paid for by those who have gone before. By those who have gone before and bent that arc towards justice and towards the freedom to choose.
Let us light our chalice together. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship. Thus do we promise to each other. Thus do we promise to each other.
So Facebook keeps on asking if you're registered to vote, and you get texts from random numbers asking which way you will go, and you're done with it, I get it. We should change the subject, yes. Just kidding, no. because you're standing on the sidelines and we're stuck in the wrong timeline and the deadline is approaching. Let's not leave this to the hive mind. Look, I know you have opinions. Yes, I've seen your latest posts. I too am tired of the politics of old white men, but this vote is not about them. Vote for you, vote for me, vote for the world you want to see. Vote your values, vote your dreams against the things that make you scream. The country's sick, here's the vaccine. If everyone votes as a team, there'll be no way they can ignore us. We'll make the system work for us. It's up to you to vote for you, you, the vote. All congregations across the nation, let's get busy making change. Cause lately there's been so much chaos that the crazy seems mundane. So register and spread the word, or we could leave it up to fate. Still kidding? No. Vote by mail or vote in person. I still think this country's worth it, but the software needs an update. Let's install a later version, and then someday it might work the way it should for every person. So let's go. Let's go. Vote for you, vote for me, vote for the world you wanna see. Vote your values, vote your dreams. If everyone votes as a team, there'll be no way they can ignore us. We'll make the system work for us. It's up to you to vote for you, you, the vote. It's time to vote, it's time to vote, it's time to vote. Vote for your passions, vote for the truth. Vote for the future, vote for the youth. Don't go with the flow, we can change the tide. Vote for your country, vote for your life. Vote for equality, for democracy. Cause you're done and you don't want to talk to me. Yes, I'm sick of hearing it too. But come on, be selfish, just vote for you, you. Vote for you, vote for me. Vote for the world you want to see. Vote your values, vote your dreams.
Right now, we're going to talk about sex. Intersex, actually. You see, October 26th is Intersex Awareness Day. Intersex is an umbrella term that refers to people who have one or more of a range of variations in sex characteristics that fall outside the traditional conceptions of male or female bodies. 1 in every 2,000 people in the United States are Unitarian Universalists. Yet 1 in every 1,500 people are born with ambiguous genitalia. So there are more people with ambiguous genitalia than there are Unitarian Universalists. Intersex awareness advocates push back on legislation, executive orders, and perspectives that mandate simple binary male-female definitions of gender. Advocates maintain that universal binary assignments of gender based upon birth genitalia is literally impossible. Intersex Awareness Day, October 26th. Ever since he was a little boy, Mark Twain wanted to be a riverboat captain on the mighty Mississippi River. He took a job as a captain's apprentice. He needed to learn the river. There were actually 2 captains on the riverboat, Captain Bixby and Captain White, and they each took turns at the wheel every 4 hours. And it was your turn to be at the wheel. It was disrespectful to be late, even a minute. Usually when it was your turn to be at the wheel, you'd get there about 10 to 15 minutes early, and the 2 captains would talk about the river, whether it was high or low, or moving swiftly or slowly. Well, one dark, moonless night, When Mark Twain looked out the front window of the pilot house, which is where the steering wheel was, he said it was like looking at nothing but a bunch of black cats. Darkness. Couldn't see anything. And it was at a particularly wide space in the river, wide point. And there were no real markers. It was hard to know where you were. Well, that evening, Captain White showed up 12 minutes late. That's very disrespectful and rude. And when Captain White walked in, Captain Bixby didn't say anything to him. He just left without chatting. There was no talk about the river. And the young Mark Twain became alarmed. Oh my goodness, it's black as night out there. It's the darkest night ever. How can Captain White possibly know where he is? There was no talk between Captain Bixby and Captain White. Well, Mark Twain decided to stay in the pilot house and just wait for Captain White to ask him where they were, because Mark Twain knew he had been there for several hours. Yet Captain White never said anything. In fact, he pulled out his pipe and was smoking his pipe and seemed relaxed. Mark Twain thought he was crazy. This guy's going to get us all killed because you can't see anything out there. Eventually, Mark Twain fell asleep in the pilot house. And when he woke up, it was daylight, and Captain Bixby was now at the wheel. They didn't die after all. Now, Captain Bixby asked Mark Twain, "Why are you still up here in the pilot house? You've been up here for a long time." And Mark Twain explained that in the dark of the night, Captain White couldn't possibly know where he was, and he thought that he might need Mark Twain's help. Well, Captain Bixby, when he heard that, he could not stop laughing. Could not stop laughing. What a silly goose you are. He may have used other language. But let's just go with silly goose. You're such a silly goose. Captain Bixby continued, "Didn't I tell you that you need to learn the river backward and forward, inside and out, daytime and nighttime, every bend, every turn, every curve?" Mark Twain thought, this is too hard. He said, "I haven't got brains enough to be a riverboat pilot. And if I had, I wouldn't have strength enough to carry them around unless I went on crutches." But with time and with hard work, he did learn the river. Backward and forward, inside and out, daytime and nighttime, every bend, every turn, every curve. He gained knowledge of the river. But he'd lost something too. All the grace, all the beauty, all the poetry had gone out of the majestic river. A beautiful sunrise now meant that the wind would be picking up later in the afternoon. A lazy log floating on the river meant the river's rising and the current will be swift. A pleasant bubbling riffle on the surface of the water meant that there's low water there where your ship could run around and tear apart. No, the romance and the beauty were all gone from the river. He lived his dream, but he had lost something too.
Now is the time in the service where the love that binds us is spoken aloud. If you have a joy or a sorrow that you'd like to share with us, please include it in the chat section during this Zoom meeting. We also have a great joy for Stephen Shanahan, who is celebrating a birthday today. And a joy, big joy, from Melinda Mishik for all the open hearts and open minds here at UUMAN. And finally, this pebble that represents all those joys and sorrows that are too tender to escape the folds of our hearts. May we hold each other in our care during the coming week.
We Are Haunted, from An Examined Life by James Hollis. In the end, we are haunted by the examples of the past, the denied permission to live a free journey. We are haunted by the particular examples of those in our purview, taking their oppression as predictive of our own. We are haunted by the social constructs that tell us what a woman is and what she can or cannot do, and what a man is and how he will be shamed by living beyond those calculated constrictions. We are haunted by bad theology, bad psychology, and bad social models into thinking we are defined by our history, by our race, or by cultural heritage. We are haunted by the unexamined lives of our ancestors and caregivers. We are haunted by the widespread impression that our history is the future. We are haunted by the limited imagination of our complexes. And even more, we are haunted by the small lives we live in the face of our immense possibilities. Haunting is individual, generic, cultural, and extremely hard to challenge because it so often seems bound by generations of practice, ancestral fears, and archaic defenses of privilege. The biggest haunting of all, the biggest shadow that occludes our sense of sovereignty in the outer world, is the specter of our unlived life. When the soul is not honored, when our possibility is denied by an outer oppressor, a social proscription, or worse, our own fears and cowardice, our pathology intensifies. If we live in haunted houses, we are called to turn the lights on and clean house.
I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said. I am, you are me. Don't you see? I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am you are me. Don't you see, I am you are me. That's what I said, I am you are me. Don't you see, I am you are me. That's what I said, I am you are me. Don't you see, I am you are me. That's what I said, I am you are me. Don't you see, I am you are me. That's what I said, I am I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start. I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, you are me. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, there is something between us that's greater. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, there is something between us that's greater. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, there is something between us. Don't you see, I am, you are me. That's what I said, I am, don't you see, I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I am a part of you, you are a part of me, and so together we are one body. I am inside your head, you are inside my heart. We fit together, perfect from the start.
I remember a conversation I had with an acquaintance at a college party many, many years ago. He said that his parents would accept nothing less than that he become a surgeon. Not just a doctor, but a surgeon. I found that to be jolting, an incredulous revelation. And thinking that I might perhaps be exploring some emotionally sensitive territory, I gingerly asked some follow-up questions. And as I listened further, I got the impression that he lacked any awareness that he might have a say in his own future. His worldview was such that his future occupation was to be decided by his parents, that that's the way it was, that he had no say. And I knew that this might possibly be the case in other cultures around the world, but this limited worldview clashed with mine. My parents never put any such expectations on me. But I don't give them credit for that, however, because I was blessed to be born in the latter half of a very large family. I'm the seventh of 9. I think that my older siblings may have been subjected to such tropes, maybe not that serious. But by the time I came around, my parents had just given up. Whatever. He's gonna do whatever. That's a good thing. But anyway, in my limited experience at the time, my college friend taught me that one's upbringing can be very, very different from my own. We don't choose our parents, our upbringing, our childhood. And as children, we lack the ability to ascertain whether or not this is a good, healthy, or wholesome childhood. We don't know. We're constantly being downloaded with a blueprint on what life is supposed to be like, what a man is supposed to be like, what a woman is supposed to be like, what a family is supposed to be like, what secrets are not to be told, what church do we go to, what are we supposed to believe, what do we do after we're an adult? Do we get married? Do we go to the military? Do we go to college? Do we work in the factory? In the coal mine? So much programming that we unknowingly download, that we unknowingly accept. And as children, we believe that our experience is normative. How could it be different? How could it be otherwise? For this reason, it may not come as a surprise when author and psychoanalyst James Hollis says, the first half of life, at least for most of us, is essentially a giant, unavoidable mistake. The first half of life, at least for most of us, is essentially a giant, unavoidable mistake. Every young person escapes home and then goes out in the world to repeat it, to be owned by it. And given that the farther away one gets from those primal influences, the more these spectral influences still call the shots. Often these spectral influences, given birth in the haunted houses of our past, can be quite damaging. In our reading this morning, James Hollis says, we are haunted by the examples of the past that denied permission to live a free journey. We are haunted by the partial examples of those in our purview, taking their oppression as predictive of our own. We are haunted by the social constructs that tell us that what we can or cannot do. We are haunted by the widespread impression that our history is our future. And even more, we are haunted by the small lives we live in face of our immense possibilities. On further examination, when we get to the heart of the matter, when I get to the heart of the matter, maybe my college friend and I are not that different. Maybe my freedom of choice as to my occupation is merely an outlier when compared to the many, many other choices that may actually be under the spectral influences that call the shots in my life. Spectral influences that call the shots in all our lives. Without too much difficulty, you can come across a wealth of information on the internet about the happiness U-curve. It's based upon large-scale surveys, and it's essentially a plot of happiness versus age, with the general finding being that as we age or go through from the 20s through the 40s, happiness generally declines. Then around the mid to late 40s, the curve begins to go back up, often well into the 80s. Now, I must acknowledge that there's controversy about the validity of this curve and the data that it is based upon. Lots of argument and controversy over that, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole now. But some people say, however, that this curve does confirm the existence of what might be generally known as a midlife crisis time. Might such a crisis be the culmination of that first half of life, which seems to be, at least for most of us, a giant, unavoidable mistake? There may be precipitating factors that bring our lives to a tipping point: the death of a loved one, the loss of a job. What a person does next at that tipping point is often critical. Sometimes drastic choices are made that have drastic consequences. People change careers, they get divorced, they buy Corvettes. And I'm not saying that those things are wrong. Sometimes those are the drastic changes, are changes that need to be made, because where they were before was in an unhealthy place. Sometimes those changes need to be made. Not sure about the Corvette. But maybe people who successfully come out of such a crisis take the time to re-examine and reevaluate their lives. And when they do, they begin to see the spectral influences and understand that they've been living for a very long time in some haunted houses. And then after a period of re-examination and reevaluation, it leads to a shift in values, priorities, and goals. And possibly, I think, not so much a shift, actually. Not a shift, but a replacement. A replacement of the spectral values, priorities, and goals with one's authentic values, priorities, and goals. Ones that resonate with one's true self. Maybe I don't need to be that surgeon. Maybe I can be content doing something else. Maybe I can live my own life, not my parents' life. Maybe I don't need to fulfill that childhood dream of being a riverboat captain or an astronaut. Maybe I could reframe that dream and simply be content with being a human being riding on a pale blue dot that happens to be hurling through space. There you go, an astronaut on spaceship Earth. What a ride. Maybe the turning of life's wheel in such a way that brings our finitude up from beneath the horizon and into view is a blessing. Stanford University psychologist Laura Carstensen says, when the future becomes less distant, more constrained, people focus on the present, and we think that that's better for emotional experience. The goals that are chronically activated in old age are ones about meaning and savoring and living for the moment. The New Year's resolution of a former coworker who had just had a heart attack was simply to make it to the next new year. And he smiled as he said that. Just let me make it to the next new year. And during that year, I never saw him happier. And he made it. James Hollis says, no one knows what is really going on. Growing up requires that we accept that others are as much at mercy of their complexes and unconscious mechanisms as the least of us. And we all have to uncover some other criteria by which we evaluate the instructions to which we are all in service most of the time. And so now we must figure it out for ourselves.
grateful for the opportunity to be together today. We are grateful for the energy, the work, and the talent that many of our members and friends share with us during the week. And finally, we are grateful for the financial contribution that members like you give to our congregation in order for us to fulfill our duty, our joy, and our work inside this church and outside of our walls. The offertory will now be received. You can conveniently use the Givelify app on your phone. Thank you.
We extinguish our chalice, yet may the flame of our community remain lit wherever we are. May it continue to light the way, guiding our faith into the future, giving warmth to our hearts and to our lives.
Today's sermon was brought to you by Arnie Moore. Actually, it was bought by Arnie Moore. You see, he purchased today's sermon at last year's Harvest Moon service auction. We had a nice lunch together, we talked about a variety of topics, and he introduced me to the book Living an Examined Life by James Hollis. At the upcoming auction, you too can purchase a sermon that I will do for you, and we'll have lunch on me. So today's benediction is more of an admonition. Register for the auction. You won't regret it. Go in peace. Enjoy your week.